Here we go.
Good morning, Grand Rising. Hello, buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Hello, good morning. Good morning to my Facebook family. Good morning to my Zoom family. I am so glad to see y'all. Welcome.
Bria, is there anything that our community, our Wool community, may need to bring to your session to prepare for your session today?
Yes, please. If you have, bring a couple pages of paper and a marker or pen or pencil. Bring your writing resources with you. Yes, we're going to be working on a couple different visual images. Good morning, Coach Cheryl. Grand Rising, Carmen. Good morning, Stacy. Grand Rising, Teresa. Hello. Good morning, Louise.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
If you didn't catch it this just yet, please do bring a piece of paper, a couple pages of paper, and a marker or pencil or pen for today's exercises. Sun is out. Our sun is coming. Good morning.
Good morning.
How we feeling today? How we doing?
Yes, thank you for asking.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Not bad.
All right. Not bad is all right. It's only 7:02. We still got opportunity for great and for good. So I'm claiming that for you. Good morning. Hello. Right. Alrighty. Let's get started.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad to see you here this morning, the Wake Up Everybody community, Grand Rising. So, my name is Bria Brown, and we will be covering some exercises on ideating to win. So, Brother John Carl, would you be willing to pull up the slides for me so we can jump right into it? And if you haven't joined on prior to the greeting, please do have ready a couple pages of paper, a couple sheets of paper, and a marker or a pen or pencil, just a writing resource, because we're going to be doing a couple exercises, and I want you to be able to join on with us. So, alrighty. So ideating to win. Essentially, what I'm going to be going through and working through with you is strategizing and coming up with big ideas or a big goal, and being able to reach that through a couple processes or exercises that I like to employ on a day-to-day basis and project to project basis. So we can move on to the next slide, and so you can get a little idea about me. So as mentioned, my name is Bria Brown, and I am a project manager in healthcare advertising. So basically, if you see commercials or get little brochures at your doctor's office, or maybe even like a sticker based off of a certain medication that you may be taking or your doctor may suggest, I work on producing and releasing things like that. I got my start in project management and business entrepreneurship through a little project I did in university called Athens New Renaissance Magazine. That was a magazine that I founded where we focused on upcoming artists. And so it was a great opportunity for me to express myself creatively, but then also work with other folks that wanted to start their own business or get their own artistry off the ground. I really loved it. And then from there, I was able to transition into starting my own agency, a marketing boutique called Coyote Agency, where we focus on providing marketing resources like PR, strategy, event coordination, event management. And more recently, I've been doing a lot of consulting for small businesses and working with folks on how to get their business off the ground. And I really enjoy it. It's something that I love to do. I love to do it for quite some time, even when I was working on the magazine. And so a little passion project of mine is Ancestor Prayers. That's my website where I blog about things on a day-to-day basis, like things just that I love. So art, spirituality, women's health, anything that happens to interest me is where you can see me writing about those things. And I have a small business, Alchemical Healing Apothecary. This is my most recent baby and in entrepreneurship. And that is a wellness shop. It's online. And so we focus on holistic wellness. Right now, we hold herbs and some skincare. And we're looking to expand into vitamins and supplements and just everything you need for your holistic journey. I'm also a Be the Tree alumni. So if you aren't familiar with that, Coach Shani, which you should be, I don't see why you wouldn't be, but Coach Shani and a wonderful network of sisters support evolutionary growth there. And so I'm from cohort 11, representing the Elms. And lastly, this summer, I graduated my MBA in business analytics from St. Peter's University. So from start to finish, I have an understanding of marketing, leadership, management, finance, and how to grow your business and run it effectively. So we'll be talking about that. Can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. So a few goals for this WOO session. What we want to do is define branding, ideation, and strategy, and what those words mean for us, and understanding their importance and how they pertain to us. So we'll be concentrating on these 3 areas of focus and how it applies to you, your big goal, or your business. So not everybody might be a business owner just yet. They might not be interested in owning a business. But we all have our big goals. And so we'll be talking about how we can use branding, ideation, and strategy to attain those big goals. And I'll help you develop tools to drive this forward. Let's move to the next slide. All right. So I know these are new definitions, so I just I did a little bit of math. I might be a little bit nerdy sometimes, so please don't mind me. But in the bottom underneath branding, at Ideation and Strategy, I've given you guys some other terms that you can affiliate with each process. So authenticity, imagination, and structure I have found to become very important tools for success when you're running projects, when you're working towards a goal. A lot of the time, on my end, I'm a type A person, so I might be very focused on the logistics of something and say, I don't have time to be too creative. Or I know a lot of folks that are extremely creative, left brain, as you might call it, and they don't focus on the logistics when they're reaching a goal or working on a project. But one thing that I've noticed is any successful project requires both. It requires a balance of creativity and the logistics and the structure. So we really want to pay attention to that when we're working towards our goals. And I would also like to emphasize, in reaching success, these things take practice. It doesn't always come to us the first time about. So when we're going into these exercises, I want to affirm that this is a judgment-free zone. Please feel free to be as creative as you like. Open yourself up to the possibilities of what may come to you, and don't deny yourself anything. You will get a lot of no's in this world. And at least for this session, I'm encouraging you to not tell yourself no. And also be so open to not telling yourself no, that when we're making this plan to win, we're also making a plan for evolution. And in entrepreneurship, they might call that even a plan to fail. So for example, big businesses like Apple, they have plans to fail or plans to evolve and to end. So you had the Mac back in the 90s, that big old computer, the colorful one. I don't know if y'all remember that. But Steve Jobs at that time had a plan to fail, and out of that came the iPod. And then once the iPod was ready to go, we had the iPhone. And the iPhone is, not to say it's out the door, but now we have Apple TV. So we're always evolving and being ready to see where we can grow. So again, do not tell yourself no. Be open to growth and evolution in this space. Okay, so we will move on. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so the first term is branding. And branding, when we think about it initially, you might think of like the big logos, Nike checks, Golden M, right? Branding is a term, a name, symbols, imagery, feelings that you get when you're defining a person or a thing. And it's what makes it distinct from its competitors. So for example, the Golden M versus Burger King's logo, which I can't remember right now. But you also have branding within your own self. And branding comes in packaging. It comes in how you present yourself. It's not just for businesses exclusively. So for example, when you think of, I'll just use Coach Shawnee. Coach Shawnee's brand is powerhouse in the house. When you think of Coach Shawnee, you know you're getting authenticity. You know you're getting energy. You know you're getting someone that thinks deep and digs deep, right? When you think of Michelle Obama, what is her brand? She's all for empowering the youth. She's all for self-empowerment. She's here for health, and she's gonna tell it like it is, right? You ever see her give Barack Obama them side eyes when they're in the middle of like a big meeting or at a big event and he's over there fooling around? So you want to, before we start to brand our businesses, we want to make sure that our brand is integral. We want to make sure that we know who we are as well. And then we get into branding businesses. One of my favorite brands or favorite businesses that I appreciate is Honey Pot. So you'll see it right there in the bottom right-hand corner. Honey Pot is a reproductive wellness brand. So they focus on women's health. They sell tampons, pads, feminine wash. It's run by a Black woman. It's a Black-owned business, and it's not as big as Always or Tampax. but they were picked up by Target, and it means a lot within our community, right? So this is to say that, like, sometimes we struggle with not knowing what our brand identity is yet, for our business and or for ourselves. However, don't be so discouraged as to not trust what your branding is. It's important to stick to that, because all you need, as Mika says, all you need is one supporter, one follower to believe in you. And that can take you don't know where your mission will carry you. So it's important to understand yourself and understand your personal brand and understand your purpose, because that'll help you drive to your big goal. It'll help you drive to your big business, that big business that you want to get off the ground. Okay, we can move to the next slide. So how do we identify and understand what our personal brand is? How do we understand which direction we should be going in? Has anybody ever like struggled with understanding the direction they should be leading in with their business or with their goal, and understanding who they are, and what they should be standing for, what the next step is? Has anybody experienced that? You can raise your hand. All right, Carmen, me too. So a practice I like to do is like getting to the root of that. And I'm a visual person. Like, if you tell me something, I might have to see it written down. I might have to make you show me so I can believe it and really understand and digest it. So what I like to do is this practice called an Ikigai chart. It's a Japanese practice to understand what fulfills you, and where you might best be suited within your life. And I personally believe that if you are starting a business, if you are going for a goal, it has to really fulfill you. But it can only really fulfill you if you understand who you are. Like I said, you understand your branding, you're understanding your brand, and you understand your greater why or your greater reason. So if you want to start a business and you want to do it because you just want to make some extra cash, why do you want to make that extra cash? For example, if you care about people, and you want to be able to feed people, and world hunger is part of your reason or your why, then maybe you should be going into a nonprofit for helping folks eat and eat better. But I wouldn't suggest you getting into something random that has nothing to do with your interests or your passions, because it won't go as far as it possibly could. So this Ikigai chart it is based off of 4 thought spaces: what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. So you look at these 4 places, and this is where you get your paper and pen, y'all, so get it ready. You look at these 4 spaces and you just list anything that comes to mind that is true to you. That's what I want you to fill out. And when you combine these areas of what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at, we come up with our passions, our mission potentially in life, our vocation, and our profession. So let's take about 4 minutes, and I want y'all to work through each circle and list out anything. So what I do for myself is with what I love music, I love film, I love my dog, I love my family, I love cooking, I love to eat. What the world needs, I think the world needs to have more resources for people that don't have. I think the world needs more respect for minorities and women. And I think the world needs to be kinder and to be more at a space of peace. What I can be paid for, I can be paid for serving tables. I can be paid for talking to people. I can be paid for managing timelines. And what I'm good at, I'm good at making people laugh. I'm good at making people feel good. I'm good at self-care. So that's just a few examples, but we'll put some time on the clock starting now. And you have about 4 minutes to work on this yourself. And if you do have any questions at any point, y'all, please do feel free to drop it in the chat and or jump on in.
I have the timer going, so I'll let you know when that 4 minutes is up.
Thank
But
you.
I absolutely love this because I started a business when I was in my teens and going into my 20s and such. Business flowed very, very well. By my 30s, I needed to have thought about some of the structure you shared here. You talked about a growth plan. You know, how your business evolved, and for me, the growth plan was absolutely important because my business was growing. I started getting celebrity clients, but I did not have that plan like you shared in your example with Apple. You know, I love Apple products. Um, and I love their branding. It's very simple and step after step after step, and it kind of draw you in. So I, from what I've seen so far, the value of this plant is absolutely amazing. I will definitely be adding this to my structure because I'm still doing that business, but a little bit smaller scale. And this right here, without even having to push it, I can see how you will gradually take yourself to that place just with this structure alone. So I can't wait to hear the feedback from our community and what they love, what they're good at, what the world needs, and what can be paid for. See that in
Absolutely.
the bottom. So I
Absolutely.
really, really love this.
Right. And you know, John Carl, our business plan I really believe that it's important to have a business plan. Even for yourself, we'd like to do 5-year goals, right? Or if it's a real business, an actual business you're working on, your business plan is going to forever evolve. And some people say that you don't need it, but I do like to have it to hold me accountable, to look at where I'm going and just look at something and go, oh yes, this is what the goal is. It's going to always evolve. It might always change, but to have that piece of paper or have that document that tells you what you're doing, who it's for, what you want to do, and where you're planning on going is very important. So
Oh, I absolutely love it. Like I said, I started young and I didn't have the structure and the support like we have here. This, what we bring into the community here, and we learn from other people's ideas and mistakes. And it may not be a mistake, but there is a mistake to go. You may love the water and set out sailing, and you don't have a map, and you're gonna get lost. If you go venture far out, and a business is a venture, as we call it. So venture and adventure, you must have a plan. We have
absolutely.
we're down to 30 seconds, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's hard because I'm very critical of myself. I've started a lot of businesses, and being an entrepreneurship, a lot of businesses sometimes fail. But what I like to do is look at it like learn lessons. These are opportunities for us to learn to become better for that thing that is within our purpose for our next mission. It's with fails and with mistakes comes evolution and progression. So that's what we like to look for, right?
Absolutely. And our time is up.
All right now. Um, do we have anyone that would care to talk about their Ikigai chart?
Alrighty. I don't know if Shauna has been on for a while, but I'm led to call on her. And also Carmen, because you mentioned her name and I love seeing you. I think you were one of the first to come into the space, Carmen. So Shauna Mahia, or Carmen Reyes, if one of you can unmute.
Yes, good morning.
Uh,
Good
Okay.
morning.
Can you hear me? I can't see myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna spotlight you 1 second, and then we could take. Do we need the chart to move through this, Bria, or can we have you and Carmen volley back and forth with just the faces?
I can volley back and forth.
Carmen, you cool with that without
Yeah,
being
I,
okay? Great.
I have the chart anyway.
All
I
right,
just looked it up.
wonderful. John, if you could take the share down, and then I'll spotlight Carmen.
It's okay, I just don't know if you guys can see me.
Oh,
Hey, Carmen.
Good morning.
so beautiful. All
Uh,
right.
This is great. I'm excited.
Wonderful. So am I. How'd it go?
All right. So does it matter? It went good actually. This is actually really exciting because I'm one of those people that I'm like I want to do everything and then I don't get as much done. And then it leaves me kind of like, oh, what am I doing in this world? Kind of in that conversation. So this is exciting. So do I go in a specific order or just go however?
However,
Okay, perfect. So what I love to be self-expressed. I love my family. I love to have fun, and I love helping others. What the world need, what does the world need? Love, compassion, more spaces for creativity and self-discovery. And I put equality through equity work. What I get paid for to do is to facilitate workshops or just facilitate. And I put organize because I love organizing. Um, and what I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at getting people's communication. I'm good at just being with people. And I'm good at coming up with plans. I love planning stuff.
Bria, okay, I have a question. Um,
Yes.
when I hear the word organizing, where I go to is like organizing around social justice, organizing around an issue, and then there's also organizing like putting things in order. So which one are you speaking of? Because when you said it,
Both.
but I didn't know what it meant.
I meant it's funny because I wrote down like I thought about like just organizing physical spaces, but I also went to school for social work, community organizing, so both.
Got that. Thank you.
so what did you get from filling out these spaces? What did you see or think of? What sparked in you?
Um, I think more like oh man, let's see what comes out of this.
Got it. Got it.
Usually I have like a very like like life has to look a certain way, and I'm like if it doesn't look this way, then my life is over. So what this, I guess, like what this is opening up for me is more like movement. Like, oh, let's see what I can do with all of this. And that it is fluid and I don't have to have life figured out yet. I think I have it, like I should know what I want to do for the rest of my life and I don't. So this is just like fun and like, oh, let's see.
Right.
Drum roll.
And so a couple things. I did this chart maybe 2-3 years ago, and I did this chart again a couple of weeks ago, because we're always going to keep looking at where we always have to reassess. Same way that your boss has these check-ins with you or these progress reports with you every year, you should be checking in with yourself to make sure that you are still in alignment and or to see how you have grown and evolved, because growth is always great. You don't always have to have everything figured out. You're going to continue to change, and that could be a good thing. When you were talking about this, I also got, when you talked about equity, I thought about events focused on diversity and inclusion, like conferences or public speaking or speaking to people about the importance of equity, inclusion, diversity. Is this where your focus is going, or is this your interest lie? Could you tell me a little bit about?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm just trying to see if I have it close by. So like I said, like I have my master's in social work and I work at a school. I'm a parent coordinator there. And one of the reasons that my boss hired me was because he's like, he knows that I'm like, I have a lot of ideas. And I read a lot about just like, having people's voices heard, having different groups of people's voices heard in a community. And I have a visual chart, which I don't have it. I thought I'd have it accessible, but I have a visual chart of just like laid out all the different groups that exist in our school. So like families with children with IEPs, Spanish speakers, just the different cohorts, the different grade levels. And I just like have this web. Like I look at this every day and I'm like, what is this gonna look like? And I have no idea because I am big on like people deserve to have their voices heard. And when we like even as a school, as we're planning, those people's voices need to be part of the planning process, which is really not, which is not a problem. That's the way they've done it. So yes, I'm always thinking about how do we include other people's voices in whatever process it is, whether it's with my children, whether it's with my partner, whether it's at work. I'm just like, how does this get done? So I spend a lot of time planning in my head. So now it's just like, I'm like, I don't know yet.
All right. I am so glad you said that. I'm so glad you have shared that you don't know yet. And you are thinking about how can we get to this, what idea, what can I do to make this happen?
Yes.
That's that next phase that I want to talk about, which is ideating, right? But that we should understand what our brand is, who we are. Looking at this Ikigai chart can tell us what we should be standing for, or what we stand for and what we care about, so we know what we
Yes.
compromise on moving forward,
Yes.
right?
And if I could share one more thing.
Sure.
So I can't remember exactly what you said a little while ago, but so I love writing, and I've shared with the Woo community. I love writing. And what I've come to, I guess, accept is that writing is also labored work. And I don't want my writing to be labored work, because there's a lot of emotions coming into. So what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, and I got it from, I think it's Cheryl, I'm not sure, one of the facilitators who talked about the chakras. She said something to me about painting. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been painting. And I was just thinking, I was like, it doesn't have to be one way. I don't have to just write these long essays, these long, like, detailed experiences. I don't have to do that. So I'm like, how can I incorporate my writing and also painting? So you said something about like just like bringing things together, and so that's like kind of like I've got like little sparkles in my mind. So this is really exciting.
There you go. I'm so glad it is. Don't deny yourself the possibilities, and it sounds like you are opening up. You're open up.
Oh, yes.
What could work, the combination of creativity and logic,
Yes.
left and right brain.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. John Carl, can we pull up the next slide for ideation? Thank you, Carmen, for sharing as well.
Oh, you're welcome.
So this ideation will be a good place for us to segue into. So ideation is the act of coming up with strong ideas to help you reach your goal. And this is a place, again, where we are judgment free. And I'm saying this because I'm saying it to myself too. This is what I like to practice. And I don't think about what works and what doesn't work just yet. You have to get it all out. Get it all out in front of you. I like to write it down on paper. You might want to send yourself a voice note. You might want to record yourself on video. But get it down so you can play it back and go through it. But all the ideas, anything that you're thinking about that pertains to your goal or to your business or whatever you're working towards, you want to do it as within like a brainstorm or like a power hour, right? And we're thinking at this time that it's quantity over quality. Quality can happen after we filter through these ideas. First, we want to just focus on getting everything that we have in our head out. Because I don't know about y'all, but I think about a million things a second. I can boop, 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 boop. It comes at me fast. I don't know if y'all are like that, but if you are, raise your hand and let me know. So we want to just get all these things out on paper and then look at them and see the big picture. How do these things connect? What's a disconnect? What's not in alignment? What doesn't match up with what we're trying to do? What doesn't match up with our brands and our big goals, right? So, and then other ways that we can do this is vision boards. So back in the 90s and 2000s, we would do the cutting out of the magazines, the images, the words, and we put them on a big old poster board. And we look at it like that. And more recently, I like to use tools online, technology, to help put together these vision boards. So there's an app called Pinterest that I really love. You just look up Pinterest.com. I like back in the early 2000s, we used Tumblr. I like looking at other artists. So Behance.net has a portfolio for different artists and the work that they've created. And I like to put together color palettes to really get the feel, because I feel like colors really help evoke emotions and tell a story as well. So coolers.co. But I like to put together visual representations of what I'm envisioning too, to help tell that story and to ideate. But we're going to do another quick little exercise. Carmen, this is for you. it's going to be a mind map. So what I want y'all to do is, in the center of your new piece of paper, write that big idea, that big goal that you have. Okay. So if that's travel more, if that's start that website, if that's get that promotion, write it down. And we'll do about 2 minutes. And I want you to write down any words that come to mind. 10 is good, but any words that come to mind when you're thinking of it. And we can start now.
I'll jump in again in the little blank space. um, again, so much value, because this is how we empower ourselves as Black families. You know, starting businesses. You know, we all are born with these gifts inside of us. Again, I was fortunate to have the gift of an artist and being creative, but starting a business, it just came natural. You know, sometimes with us that are gifted like this, we don't have to think about the structure and what we're going to do in the business, but this part. And I like that you brought in colors. Again, as an artist, colors are very important. And my room is set in blue because it creates that calm and peace of mind. And you know, I don't know what I don't know what to repeat it and talk about the colors and what they mean and the mood is set like that. I don't know if colors.co offer that.
They
And
don't talk about they don't describe what food moods come with the colors. However, I'm with you. Blue is for calm. You know, I like to just go through all the colors that come up and see what makes me feel good, what sparks joy, what I feel most secure in. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, part of the reason why I find starting businesses so important, because it helps feed our family, but then also helps with equity and balance within our community. You know, it makes space for us to provide for others. And this is the way that and provide for ourselves too. So I know we're at time, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, but very quickly, I'm so committed to this work because it's my way of teaching people to fish. It's my contribution to community because I think that we should all be able to provide for ourselves and our folks. And we all have a talent and we can monetize that talent. We all have goals and we can all reach those goals. And I think if we have a sense of joy and a sense of security, that makes the world a bit of a better place. So, all right.
Absolutely.
So, and I didn't mention this before, but within business and entrepreneurship, we have something called an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, and this means just that one product that is going to help your business soar, get to the next place. The one thing that your business is based off of that will sell well, your minimum viable product. And so you might have written that. I don't know if anybody has, but you might have written that as your big goal. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. But Carmen, how did it go with the ideation? And anybody else feel free to also jump in and let me know how it went too.
It went good. I got a little nervous because, you know, when you asked about like what's the big idea, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but I have so many. But I actually ended up writing live fully self-expressed. I think like that's my big picture. And then do you want me to tell you the 10 things that I wrote around that?
Yeah, could you say the term that you said, live fully expressed?
Live fully self-expressed.
I'm sorry, you had cut out just for that second.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Live fully self-expressed.
Got it. Okay.
That's my big
Yeah, and
picture.
feel free to share the 10 things.
Sure. So I just I put here contribute to community, perform, sing, create, whatever that whatever that is. Pottery, I want to do something with my hands, art, color, music, and teach.
Got it. Got it. Okay, great. So hold those and keep thinking and marinating on those things. But this is that space, the ideation is that space to marinate on how those things will exist. Let's see, Shauna, were you able to complete ideation in the mind mapping that we just did?
Yes, I did. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How did it go?
It went good. So I wrote down live limitlessly.
Okay.
And living that would be starting a business, traveling, getting a new job. Good morning.
What was at the center of your, hi, beautiful. What was at the center of your mind map, or what was that big goal? Do you have a big goal written there?
Oh, the big one is starting a business.
Starting a business. Okay. And
Yes.
you have live limitlessly.
Yes, investing, expanding my dance company, teaching, and always trying new things.
So the business that you want to start, is that your dance company?
No. I'm in a dance company now. I'm in an African dance company now. So I put that as when you mentioned the minimum valuable goal, that came in mind to how we're trying to expand that.
Okay.
By getting more places to perform at and working with other teachers.
Okay. And what came out of, as far as your big goal is your business. So did you have, any thoughts about the business? What is the business? Do you, what came from there? Did anything come up there?
Yes. So for my own, I would love to do workshops, transformational workshops. That would be my ideal goal. And to create it where it's something where people are able to come in and just talk about things that they're unable to move on from, or try to make it something they have not done in a while, something new that they would like to do, and assist them with making those small steps or goals towards that. So that's what came to mind.
Got it.
With great. Title and all.
That's great. Yeah. And what I saw, you have a lot of things that you would like to work towards. You have a lot of goals. They're all big goals. They're really important. I work the same way, where like I have this thing and then I have this thing, and all these are all moving parts that we have to work on and focus on. What I find to be really helpful is to focus on one piece at a time. The world, we like to think that we can multitask, right? Nobody multitasks. That is not a real thing. Because if I'm talking to you, I have to focus on you. You ever notice with a camera, right, on TV, or you're watching TV and they have one thing in focus, you can't look at both things at the same time. Your head would probably explode. So you have to focus on one piece and expand and branch out from there. And then what I like to do, and this is just the way that I work, so if anybody has other offerings, I'm open to that. But the way that I work is, let me focus on my dance company and the getting performances and booking shows and working on these goals. The way that you would map it out with ideation is, boom, map this one out, and then boom, map the next one out. But you should be able to have all of your ideas spread out. And sometimes it's really nice to prioritize a piece. What's the most important right now? And let's focus on that and then move forward, because everything will still be there, hopefully, if it's aligned for us, right? If it's aligned for us, it will still be there. It's really nice to just take the time to hone in on what needs our immediate attention. Because what I have found in my experience with myself is when I have 6 projects that I'm working on, and I'm not properly balancing my time and or just focusing on the one, I spread myself thin on the rest, as opposed to focusing on the one and then getting to the next, but when we're entrepreneurs and we have a lot of businesses and a lot of things going on, it doesn't mean to put everything else on pause, but for the sake of like ideation, and focusing, it's nice to focus on the one.
Okay.
But I think that it's great. It's a direct reflection of a lot of us who have so many other working parts in our lives, It's so important. So thank you for sharing.
No problem. Thank you. I'm enjoying this.
Yes, that's great. Okay, so let's move to the next slide, John Carl. You can, and that's the thing too, folks, when you are ideating, you have so many moving parts in your life. So please do feel free to practice this with each piece and each component.
Before we move to the next slide, Bria, it is 7:46. Just a time check for the community, members of the community that may have to leave before.
Okay. Alrighty, folks. Thank you so much for joining. If you do have to leave, please feel free to send me an email. It's coyote.agency@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm also on Ancestor Prayers on Instagram. And I would love to, and I also know that my contact is in the chat. So I would love to connect with you all if you do have any questions or anything that you'd like to share moving forward. And thanks so much for joining this morning. But please do come back to the recording and see the rest of the session. Okay. All righty. So shall we move forward to strategy? Okay. So strategy is essentially structure, right? When we think of strategy, we're thinking about the working parts and the steps that we have to take to get to that next place. And everything comes with strategy, right? When you want something from someone, you'll be strategic about how you will approach them. Does anybody, buildings have structure, or a car has structure and working parts. When you need to do something, for example, washing the dishes, it has a structure or a strategy or steps. You turn on the water, you make sure it's not too hot or too cold, right? Then you get your soap, you have your rag or your sponge. There's a strategy to this, to make sure that you put it on the side on the dish rack to make sure that the water doesn't leak all over the counter. There's strategy to it. Everything has strategy and structure. And so important when you're working towards your big goal, when you're working towards your business, to ensure that the strategy and structure is there. We have, within the agency, I work in pharmaceuticals, as mentioned. So there's process to everything that we do, because when there's not process, things fall apart. And so I know that sometimes it's not always our strengths, including mine. I'm such a person that's type A, that likes to focus on process and structure. And one thing I can say is I can't do this without a team. So you need to have folks there to support you, to point out where your process could use a little bit more support and foundation. Because that's what helps you reach the finish line. That's what helps you get to the big goal. If you're unsure of something, make sure that you have, if you're unsure of something or you're unable to execute to the way that you would like to, make sure that you have something there to fortify and support your structure and implementing said structure, right? And before we even do that, for my business folks, I must emphasize, before we get into strategy, before we get into structure of your business and the working parts, make sure that your paperwork is in order, right? Secure your business. So this means registering your business. I like to emphasize with everyone, if you are going to be spending money and or making money on your business, before you even start to put things out, secure it. That means by registering it and getting your LLC, or if you're planning on making $1 million, your S Corp or your C Corp, And you can do this on websites like LegalZoom, which I know is very popular. But because I work on tight budgets, I like to do it myself. And you can do this through programs like SBA.gov, which is the Small Business Association, or your state's local website. So New York City, New York State, New Jersey, Baltimore. I think every state has their own website where you can look into the economics department or the small business department, and they can tell you how to register your business with that state. And not every state is the same either. The price might be different. The requirements are different. So you want to look into this, but it helps you because you will be probably, say you start your business and you spend about, $2,000 throughout the year. The next year when it comes tax time, that's a loss that you had because you didn't make that much money back, and you want to be able to reclaim that and make that money back. So please register your business. I cannot emphasize that enough. Even if you don't do anything with it, have your business registered. And also, the most important things that I found, because this is the digital age, secure your social media handles, secure your domain. The domain should be the first thing that you get. And when you look on the SBA website, they will tell you that register your business, then get your domain. So back in the 90s, in the age of the internet, when we first started off, what people were doing, where they were grabbing domain names. Domain is your website, right? That's the website name. So www.johncarl.com, right? Back in the 90s, what they were doing was they were taking all the celebrities' domains, Beyonce.com, LilKim.com. So then the Beyonce and Lil Kim would have to pay somebody $50,000, $100,000, maybe even $1 million to have that name back to them. So when you have a business idea and you're thinking of it, I don't know, Kenyofu's Cupcakes, get that website domain. And you can do that on websites like www.hover.com, godaddy.com, and then get the social media handles too. Kenyofu's Cupcakes on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Grab it everywhere and like try to make it uniform. So then when people are looking for you, they can find it in all spaces. And then eventually you want to open up a business account. And guys, feel free to jump in and ask questions. Feel free, but open up a business account, a bank account. And I personally wouldn't recommend on something like a big bank like Chase or Bank of America, even though they do have business accounts, but work locally. So you can open up one for free through a bank called AZLO, AZLO. It's free checking, and it's easy to use. It's all digital. Or you can go through your local credit union and open up a business account. And this does not mean a business loan. This means that you just have a place to have a debit card and save money from your business. And it's nice to separate that out because like I said, when it comes to tax time, you have all your business transactions in one space. It's easy to look at. And this also goes for if you have a big goal too. So if you don't happen to be opening a business, but you have a big goal that you want to work for, make sure your paperwork is in order. So if you want to travel for the year 2020, make sure you got your 2021 because quarantine, but make sure your passport's ready. If you happen to want to start, you want to start booking more business, make sure that you have your email address set up. These things, have your paperwork ready, and then we can get into strategizing, making SMART goals and testing and experimenting with the strategy and the way that you're going to execute that goal. So we can move on to the next slide. Great. SMART goals. This is what I really enjoy. SMART goals, when you're strategizing, means that your big goal is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So, for example, you want to start your business. You wouldn't say, does anybody want to start a business here? Feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll do a quick chat about it. Or feel free to jump on the mic too.
I'd rather them not come off mute because it could be chaotic, but I know that Teresa has had her hand up for a while, and I also know that Teresa is a business owner. I just don't know where she is on her journey.
Okay.
So, Teresa, if you could unmute, I know you raised your hand earlier, and I trust that wherever you are in the conversation, Bria can guide you.
Hi Bria, how you doing?
Hey, I'm
Thank
well.
you so much for this. Thank you so much for this great information. What what I like doing is I like advocating for people. That's one of the things that I love. I do I like I sell jewelry and I'm going to be selling black art. But the thing that I love the most is advocating because I recently had gotten diagnosed with ovarian not uterine cancer. And one of the things that came to me is that how many women who have a mobility or a man who has a mobility disability is actually getting proper health care. So I would like to figure out how I can like to do that as well as like do my like educate people on like strategizing. Like I also work with an organization that's strategizing on how to have better care for people of color in their communities. So I have like a dual, kind of things like advocating for people as well as I love, I do like selling stuff. And I do, when I'm doing it, I do very well. It's just that sometimes my health gets in the way of doing it. So I want to be able to do it, still whether my health is doing good or not. Like to push past mentally, like when I'm having a physical, challenge day. But the
Absolutely.
one thing that I want to, work on is advocating for people because it's a lot of stuff that I've learned and that I know. And by me being diagnosed with the cancer thing, it came to me like how many other women, are not getting, like GYN care because they don't have access to a place to go get help.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So you have a lot of big goals. What I like to do is, and this is great. It's great to have big goals. That means we're aspiring, we're working towards something. We're about to make a difference. We're about to make a change, and evolution is going to come through, right? So, what I like to do is look at the big goal or the big goals and work my way backwards to small goals. So you have this big vision of who you want to be because we did that in ideating. We did that in our Ikigai charts. We have this big vision of who we want to be, and we have to look at the steps that it takes to get there. What's one of the first things that you could do, Teresa, to get to that big goal of yours to advocate for people? What's one of the first things that you could be doing?
Well, what I did do is that I'm working with a group who's doing that right now. So I am working with someone, and that's something too that I realized that I have a lot of ideas in my head, but I need to work with people to get it, get it done. So I
Okay.
am working with a group.
What are you working towards with that group?
Well, right now we're working on how to let the system know that like okay, I live in Far Rockaway, so there was a lot of lack, as far as COVID-19, as far as teachers, as far as like domestic abuse. So we're working on showing people, like letting the legislators know that these are the areas where they like that. I also live in NYCHA, so we also letting NYCHA know, what happened to people and how they just slipped through the cracks.
Okay, perfect. So this could be arbitrary. I'm just gonna make one up for the sake of.
Mhm.
So let's say, Teresa, your goal is to have a meeting with NYCHA to let them know to talk about the issues that are going on within housing, right? Talk about the issues that you're experiencing in housing, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
want to make a smart goal. It has to be. I saw in the chat y'all were looking for it: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based. Um, so what you will do to make it specific. I want to have a meeting with NYCHA, and please correct me if I misunderstood. So I want to have a meeting with NYCHA to talk about the problems within the housing, right?
It's not what
Or
what what the organization is doing is actually going to put in like a bill. Like we working with the state assembly person. He's actually writing a bill to show the neglect of NYCHA, and these are the areas that they neglect the people in.
got
So we got information and data, to prove like this
perfect,
is happening to the
perfect,
people.
perfect.
Mm.
So your specific goal will be by 2021, I want to have a bill submitted to the state to speak about the inequities within NYCHA. This is specific. It's measurable because it's measurable because we can say that we have or have not submitted this bill.
Yes.
You have to be able to measure your goals. And the way that we can do this is by seeing where we are on with each step. Do we have so-and-so working? Do we have John working on writing up the bill? Do we have Teresa editing and looking over and making sure all details are in there? Do we have Kelly making sure that we're advocating for folks within the bill? And attainable, right? We want to make sure that it's a realistic goal. So this for me right now, Teresa, sounds realistic, but if for example, for you to say, we want to change we want to have this bill entered by next week, and all the things that go into a bill, that's not really attainable, right?
No.
Like you said, for example, you have health issues and you want to be gentle with yourself. So we have to make sure that we are taking into account all the given factors and risks that come around making a goal and reaching a goal, and being mindful and considerate of that. Relevant, meaning, so your goal is to have this bill submitted for to make a change within NYCHA. If you started working on something that had nothing to do with that, like you were like, okay, we want to submit this bill, I'm gonna go ahead and start making art to talk about the inequities, but we're focused on the bill, that's irrelevant. We have to make relevant goals and time-based. Make a time, make a deadline for yourself. When we don't have deadlines, sometimes things tend to fall by the wayside. Like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. And that's fine. But if you have a big goal that you're actually working toward, make sure that it's time-based and you say, I'm gonna do it by this date. And these are the steps I'm gonna take to get to it by said date. That's very important.
Yeah, we have a deadline, so that is we have like certain deadlines of parts we have to put in. So that part is, but it's just that by this thing happening to me, it just made me, even want to push, to advocate for people and get people assistance and help. But I still love doing, like selling stuff and doing stuff like that, and eventually, I'm, like. I want to be here a long time, so I have to do things, health-wise to make sure that I'm, taking care.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sister Teresa.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So guys, also, it's important to, like I said, attainable and being honest with yourselves. You have to define your SMART goals and sell them to yourself and be committed to it. And then also be realistic. You can tell me your goals, but I can't hold you accountable in the same way that you could. So it's really important that we hold ourselves accountable when we're making goals and working towards our business or towards that big goal, that side hustle, that project, that thing that we're working on, the thing that we're committed to. And because nobody else can hold you accountable like yourself. But then once you do hold yourself accountable, others can equally hold you accountable. And using these SMART goals helps inspire and motivate folks to understand your greater reason and your reason why, so they can be a part of said goals. All right. And then also finding tools to support you too. Sometimes, like Sister Teresa mentioned, her health is a factor and a component into her being able to reach her goals. This happens with everybody. We all have life going on. For example, I always say I want to, monetize myself on social media. In order to be able to do that, I have to be consistently posting. And social media management is a big job. It's an actual job now. People are being paid for this. So what you need to do is find tools that will help you get to that next step when you're not able to do it. So that may mean reaching out to a person and saying, hey, can you handle this for me? And then sometimes when you're working on a small business, you don't have the resources to do that. So what you want to do is find programs that'll help you. So for example, social media management, there's a program like Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE, or Latergram. These are automated social media posts. You want to use something like MailChimp, where you can automate your newsletters and have them sent out on your behalf. working on partnerships with people that'll collaborate with you. Okay, I have this idea for like a picture, a children's book, but I can't draw and I don't have the resources right now. Find an illustrator that wants to do more creative work and say, hey, I have this idea for a book. Would you like to collaborate? Make it a partnership. And if you're doing a retail business, I cannot emphasize it enough. Once you have your LLC, you can get a resale license and you can wholesale product and buy things for half the cost that they actually are. So if you're making like skincare products, you don't want to pay the retail price, the price that you go to store with in order to buy this jewelry. So you have to upsell it. You want to wholesale it. That means like if the earrings typically would cost $12 in JC Penney's, you want to pay $6 for them. And if you even get deeper, you can even pay $3 for them by going to a supplier. So make things easier for yourself. Having these tools will help you get to that next space of attaining your SMART goals. Okay. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, great. So another thing that I like to talk about with strategy, and this applies for anybody, any type of business owner, any person working towards a big goal, is, and this is called like a research cycle or a testing cycle. So you have your SMART goal, you're working towards something, and this testing cycle is evolutionary. We talk about this a lot. Opportunities for growth. Don't worry about making mistakes. Don't worry about failing, because something comes out of everything. Cause and effect. Things will always continue and you will always gain. Don't be so worried about taking losses. You will always gain something. And if you focus on what you've gained, you can move forward into your evolution even further. So you have your idea, and this starts anywhere in the cycle, right? You have your big idea. You make your plan, right? We talked about the strategy and the SMART goals. What I want you to do next is just do it. Don't worry about the blockages that might come up. Oh, people might not like this. This might not work. Of course, you want to put things out that are of quality, but don't judge yourself or hinder yourself to the point that you don't do anything. This is, and I'm speaking because this is my experience, and this is experience I've heard from other folks. Just get the idea out. And then get your feedback. Collect your feedback from your peers. Collect your feedback from yourself. Really just get those notes down and don't judge, but just wait. Just collect it all and then have a debriefing with yourself. Look at what came out of this execution. What came out of me doing this? What did I learn? That conclusion helps you say, okay, cool. So the cupcakes with the red frosting didn't work. Nobody liked that red frosting. Let me try a blue frosting or a white, or I just won't do red frosting anymore. Or maybe I'll do red frosting, but I have to change the ingredients so it tastes better. And you continue this cycle. You continue to move forward. It wasn't exactly what you wanted on the first go round, but eventually you'll learn and it'll be great the next go round and continue to evolve. How many iPhones we got? 12 versions? And then like sub versions between that. They come off of a testing cycle, And another thing I also want to emphasize, there's a saying in entrepreneurship. If your packaging is perfect, you've waited too long. If your product is perfect, then you have waited too long. You can't even the thing about it is you want to get that feedback from your folks, from your audience, from your peers, because they tell you what they want. And yes, of course, we have an audience and we have an idea of who our consumer is, who's buying our product, but we don't always know what they want. They tell us and then we can anticipate. I see that Teresa was asking what the chart says. So it goes in a circle, and there's 5 steps. You develop an idea, you make a plan, you execute your idea, you get feedback, and then you draw it to a conclusion. Okay. And we can go into the next slide. Okay. one of the things I also want to point out is to be about your business, be about that big goal, really sell yourself. So when you have a business, you should be establishing your customer base even before you even launch. This goes into your business plan. You have to have an idea of who you're going to be selling to. So if you're focused on the evolution of women and minorities, and making sure that they feel safe and supported on your creative project, you shouldn't be focusing on people that are not within that customer base. You even want to get so specific to say, I see women in their early 20s to late 40s, Black women, Latina women, Asian women. I see women that like to focus on health and wellness. I see women that are creative. Really envision who they are, and that will help you drive your business forward and make sure that your big goals that you're working to are in alignment. So there's this little program I like to use called HubSpot.com, and the hyperlink is Make My Persona. So you can make little character bases and character profiles for who your ideal customer is, and use that as reference for whatever you're creating. And then also, once you start putting out and doing your testing cycles, you'll be able to see how this customer base evolves. If you have a big goal that you're working towards and it's not for a business, you have to be your customer. You have to sell yourself. So if you're thinking about traveling 2021 and you want to be, you want to go to Rome and Greece and Spain and whatever, you want to go to a bunch of different countries around the world, you have to make sure that it's in alignment with who you are. So for example, if you like tropical places, why are you going to Antarctica? That doesn't make sense, right? Like, make sure that you understand who you are or who your customer base is, and that will help drive your big goal forward. And essentially you want to anticipate, understand, and provide for your customer needs. So like said, once you start hearing back from them, they're like, oh yeah, this phone didn't really work when I tried to text message people. Or I love the text messaging feature when I was using the phone. You say, oh, okay, they like to text message. Maybe on this phone, I want to create an instant messenger too. Think about what's next and what's coming, and that will help you come up with cooler and greater ideas, this ideation part. Go ahead and think towards the future. They might not think they need it right now or right this second, but once you put it out there, or once you make it accessible and possible for them, then you never know. They might love it, because people are going to tell you no. I'm the type of person, my spouse, he'll be like, so-and-so, like, let's do such and such a thing. And I'm like, nah, I don't like that idea. Until he does it, or until we do the activity or the project. And then I'm like, dang, this is great. So people are going to tell you no. Don't worry about them telling you no. Just do it. And anticipate it. He was telling me about back in the day, I think early 2000s, they had the virtual keyboard. It was like an LED light. It was a light, and it wasn't your actual keyboard, but you could like look at the screen on the table, like I forget the word is forgetting me, hologram or something. But it would be like the light of the keyboard on the table, and you could type right on the table. And apparently it wasn't an idea that people wanted. They were like, nah, that's dumb. I don't care about it. Right now it's selling on Amazon. The thing is worth millions. Like this concept is worth millions. So go ahead and think in the future. Think evolutionary. Be brave and step out and do whatever you're thinking about doing. Test it and keep it going and evolve it. But anticipate your customer needs. And the other thing is also consistent engagement is really important. So even if you're not posting on your social media every day, commenting on your customer base's pictures, or looking into responding to messages, being in touch with your customer base is super necessary when you're running your business, because if you don't consistently engage with them, it will fall by the wayside. They might, not to say they would forget about it, but it's not a priority on them. Versus if you're consistently messaging or posting, and not even just original content, even just reposting things that are in alignment with your brand and your business. They say, oh snap, Can Yo Foods Cupcakes just posted, or oh snap, Can Yo Foods Cupcakes just commented on my page. Let me go check that out. They got some new cakes there. consistently engage on a day-to-day basis. Even if you take like an hour out of your day to just do social media stuff exclusively, that's super helpful. And then also I would say be a forever learner. I'm a forever learner. I have a bunch of books on my bookshelf about women's health, about social media, about marketing, about the things that I care about and love, because when you are consistently learning and updating yourself, that's how you can continuously evolve. We don't want to stay stagnant. I know that, for example, with project managers, there's a certification that some project managers get. And every year you have to like ensure that your credits, which is meaning that you're certified to do this job, your credits are up to date. I think therapists even have to do the same thing. You have to do workshops and learnings to make sure that you're up to date with the current events and what's going on. So immerse yourself into that environment. Whatever it is that you want to be, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to be in it. Have your community around you that's just like that. That's like what you want to be. So if you want to make $1 million, you probably need some millionaire friends. You can't be hanging around a bunch of broke people or people that are not fiscally responsible or aspiring to that, because there's a difference, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur, listen to podcasts. A podcast I really love is Entrepreneurs on Fire. I also love Snacks Daily. Listen to podcasts about money, finance, marketing, entrepreneurship. If you want to be an artist, go to museums, pick up some art books, study it. You consistently study, consistently immerse yourself, and be in that environment. There's one thing that Entrepreneurs on Fire says at the end of every podcast that I love: you are the 5 people that you keep around you. So if you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you want to be a person that is integral, if you want to be a person that is creative, if you want to be a person that is committed, dedicated, and strategic, you need friends that are integral, creative, committed, dedicated, and strategic. Live and breathe that thing that you want to be. Live and breathe that big goal. Okay. Let's move to the next slide. Okay. So through this, I would just like to say that it's really important to know your greater reason. And we do that through the Ikigai chart. That's a way to explore that. Understand your why. Why are you so committed to this? It has to be in alignment with who you are. Be limitless in your vision. Don't tell yourself no. There's no space for that. Unless, of course, it's out of integrity. Unless, of course, it's not in alignment with who you are. But if it's for the greater good, if it's something that can help expand and evolve your big goal, dream, 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 write it down, ideate, do the mind map, create that mood board, that vision board. Don't tell yourself no. And just filter it out later. You'll edit it later. When it doesn't work, we'll figure out it doesn't work later. Be strategic about your benchmark. Make your SMART goals. I'm going to get this done by this time through doing this. And immerse yourself in the goal. Really be around people that are in alignment with that. Study it, read it, practice it, you know? And I put this little gift here because I just love Michelle. She's great. Be focused, be determined, be hopeful, be empowered. And this is how we reach our big goals, and this is how we experience and reach our successes. So, does anybody have any questions?
Okay. Hi, this is Louise. I have a question. Do you work with teenagers or young people, I guess, aspiring to have it? Because I have a 17-year-old son, his first year in college. He wants to own his own business. My aunt is trying to discourage me, you know, with she's saying, oh, it's not practical to just have a business degree. He has to know exactly what he wants. And you know, I don't have my own business. I'm a registered nurse. She's a doctor. And I'm like, no, he doesn't have to do it. That just go to school and, medical or something. He wants to have his own business. And I'm going to encourage him, because the best thing, in far as I'm concerned, is if you do what you love and get paid for it, that's the greatest thing. So my question is, do you, have meetings with teenagers to try to encourage them in this way? I'm going to try to have him look at this particular oh my God, I went blank. This event today. I went blank.
No, and that's fine. Thank you, Louise. I first would like to just acknowledge that I think this is awesome that you are willing to and open to encouraging your son to do the thing that he loves. It's so important to give kids that freedom to explore and to grow into the people that they want to be, as opposed to like what we feel that they should do. So I want to acknowledge that you giving him that space is wonderful, and I'm sure he appreciates that. I hope he does.
Yeah, he does.
I don't have like a program that I'm working on with young people, but I have spoken at schools previously. I also have my little sister who's 17 and she wants to start her own hair business. So I've mentored and supported in those spaces to let her and like a little cousin know about what I think they should be doing to help get their business off the ground. But I would absolutely be willing to connect with your son if that is something that he and you want to do. I'm open to that. The other thing I was going to say is things are different so I took a corporate finance class and it taught me a lot about the evolution of the corporate world and the way things work. So I'm assuming your sister is around your age. She's not in her
My aunt. No, it's my aunt.
I apologize. Yeah. Your aunt. So she's probably older than you, yes?
Yeah, she's in her 70s. Oh, she's a retired doctor.
The corporate world and the business world are so different from what it was back in the day. You can make a lot of money studying business and having a business degree. So I like to have a plan A and plan B. I'm always a plan A, plan B person, right? So your son goes for his business degree. He will be taking courses in finance. He will be taking courses in management. He will be taking courses in marketing. So once he does that, he'll be able to see where he really wants to focus. But companies are paying big bucks for people that have their degree in business, especially with people that have their degree in finance, because it helps make sure that these businesses are running effectively. So even if he wants to be an entrepreneur, and he could make a lot of money in that going over to Silicon Valley, even if he wants to be an entrepreneur, he still would need a day job, and he could get a day job doing his business degree and finding more specifically what he loves. You also, in your first year of college, and maybe even the first 4 years, you might not even know what you want to do just yet. You ever heard of people that do a victory lap in college? They do that extra 5th year because they ain't figured it out. Like I got my bachelor's and thought I had an idea, and I went back for my master's because I didn't really know. So, and I mean, there's a lot of debt behind that. But nonetheless, there's still evolution and opportunity for him to learn and to understand what he wants to do. But business, I'm all here for a business degree. I am all here for it because I did mine in political science and communication. And I thought that's what I wanted to do in my bachelor's. I wanted to be a journalist. And then I was like, that doesn't make any money. And it doesn't really allow me to lead in the way that I wanted to lead. So I went back for my MBA because I was like, I love business. Business is great. So,
Okay, thank you. I'll get your information. I just want to say quickly too, with COVID and the lockdown and the protests, there has just been such a phenomenal movement to supporting Black business. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing that because when I got out of college in the 90s and I was like, oh, Black power and support business. And I did not get a lot of support with that. So it's just beautiful to see the same people who were dogging me back in the 90s. They talk about, oh, we got to support Black business. And it ain't you. So thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, guys, I love to read. So if you are looking for good books on getting to that big goal and or making your goal or your business happen, I really love a couple books. One is You Are a Badass. I forget the author's name. I think it's Jennifer or something. Another one is Think and Grow Rich. that is by Napoleon Hill. Okay, so You Are Badass is by Jen Sincero. And then Think and Grow Rich is by Napoleon Hill. But those are two books, and they're a little bit out of touch with who we are as Black folks, and not in the sense that it's like offensive or anything, but the language is a little bit different. But if you do like to read, they do have some helpful tips on pushing yourself and motivating yourself to manifest and create that thing that you want to get to. Okay. Any other questions or commentary, thoughts?
Carmen Tan is ready, so I think she wants to share something.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So it's more of a comment than a question. Just first of all, thank you for the time that you spent with us, sharing and, giving us these tips. And I guess I just wanted to share that what I'm taking with me is like that big why, because I keep asking myself, like, why do I want to do what I do? And it really ultimately for me is about children, about, my future generation, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren, the other children of people I don't even know. Because I see that the more I get connected with myself, the more that I'm learning how to forgive myself, how to go through the complexity of what it is to be human, the more compassion that I have for myself, and the more space and compassion I have for other people. Even my niece who has, she does the eye rolling and everything. So I just see like the more I work on my goal, the more I'm open to others, and there's just more love and compassion. So I guess like that's my big why.
Ashay, there we go. Yeah, and I think that's great. We don't think about sometimes when we're going through life, we think about how life affects us as opposed to how we affect life and the rest of the world. And then we don't even realize, and it seems that you are very observant of who you are impacting directly: your niece, your family, the children around you, your grandkids, your legacy, which is great. Also, your impact affects whoever they affect. It ripples. So it's important for us to be committed to our whys. It's important for us to be committed to being our biggest and best self, because you don't even know who you're impacting and what difference in the world that it could make. I like to say, when I'm praying, I like to say, thank you for those known and unknown who have made a way for me. Because there's people I know that made a way for me, and there's people I haven't even heard of that I've met in passing, that I don't know at all, that are from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend that have affected me. So that why is very important. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
Well, what we can do at this point, Bria, if there are no more questions, we can bring up the special offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Okie dokie, y'all. So I'm so glad that we got to have this time together this morning. And if you are watching the recording after, I appreciate you listening in. What we want to do is for three participants of Woo session this morning, I want to do a 1-hour introductory business consultation with you. So we can talk about just your big ideas, your big goals, where you want to get to, and we can talk more into specifics about strategy, branding, and ideation, and how to get you to that next step. So,
you chose some numbers before we began this session, and I'd like to call up our winners. Number 3 and 17, and the last number was 23. So number 3, we have Sister, BC's mom. Sister, would you like to accept?
We may need to invite her to unmute 1 second. She's not with us. She's not here anymore. So let me do this again and see what's up. In the meantime, you can move to the next person.
Okay, the next winner is Shanna. Shauna, are you with us? Would you like to accept?
Oh my goodness. Of course, I'm going to accept. And I just wanted to add, Bria, just now when you shared about your why and your purpose of what it does, I definitely agree with that, that when you impact the people that are around you, they transcend that to other within their own community. So your message keep getting passed down and causing transformation. So thank you for that. And I'm excited for my one-on-one.
Yay! You too.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Shauna. Um, our our next winner, and this replaces the first number. This is Carmen. Congratulations, Carmen. Would you like to accept?
Woohoo!
Carmen,
Yes, and
that was such a
huh?
corny woo. That was a corny woo. I know you could
No,
do better.
no, because I was like, okay, I want to win. I want to win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. And I have a request because I would like to give my one-to-one to somebody on the call.
Okay.
So, somebody, Velda McMahon.
She actually already won. We were about to
Oh,
That's how spirit
Look
works.
at this one. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Bella is our third winner.
So, Carmen, I want to just offer you something.
yes.
This whole process with Bria, and there was some bits of uncertainty. I invite you to accept the offer, the gift of the session, and not pass
Mhm.
it on. And the fact that you picked Velda and she's already a winner means it springs right back to you. There's always openings for exploration and deep dives, and Bria's the perfect person for it. And I heard some openings for opportunity for you to get clearer. So, do you accept what Spirit has given you?
Yes, and I'm actually in tears now because I keep doing that, just giving away what's gifted to me. So yes, I accept.
Beautiful.
Awesome, awesome. Congratulations, Carmen.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
And now for the double recipient, Velda, would you like to accept your gift?
How could I refuse winning twice?
You have to accept. No other choice.
No other choice. I will accept.
Yay.
Awesome. Congratulations. I am going to now share your contact,
Yes, please.
and you can walk us through this.
Alrighty, y'all. So I am on Instagram and I mainly in my stories post memes, but every now and again and more frequently, I will be posting more information about business strategy, growth. But you can see a lot of my activity there. And please do follow me. And or you can email me if you have questions and would like to connect as well. coyote.agency@gmail.com. That's also how you can reach me. And I'm so looking forward to connecting.
Awesome. Uh, and Bria, if there's anything you'd like to share to close out before we speak on the love offering, you can take the time to do that.
I just would like to say thank you to y'all for getting up this morning and making that next step towards your big goals and your big dreams. I would like to say thank you for allowing me to share this space with you on your journeys. And I just pray that it's continuously evolutionary for you and that you receive the support that you need to move forward. So thank you.
Alrighty. So, I'm particularly lit up about sharing this and making this request from the 24 souls that are in this space, really 20, and the Facebookers that are on as well, because the invitation is always extended to you to do the same. So, love offerings. When I think about what we were born to do and be for the world, I think of love. I think of love being the conduit for all of the manifestations of our desires and all of the things that all of the or part of the pieces that will make this life a grand life, a big life, a life that's generative. So this sister, our beloved Bria, BB, Bria Brown, brought it today, allowed us to see some folks who never thought of themselves as an entrepreneur or a womanpreneur or a manpreneur, like allowed you to see the possibilities of you manifesting that and what infrastructure would need to be put in place, what visioning would need to be put in place, how you need to receive feedback from others. And I've used feedback as nourishment. Sometimes the people who are giving us feedback, they have a low vibration and they also have a low um, view of how life can work and what is possible. So thank you, Bria, for just creating structures and a formula for us to win this game of living and loving and being in the world. So she's given so generously to us. We invite you to give back, family, in the form of love offerings. You can take out your phone right now, Cash App, Quick Pay, and offer this love to her as a thank you for everything that she has done to demonstrate that we are the ones we've been looking for. So please do give those donations to QuickPay or Zelle through soulleadership@gmail.com or Cash App $Spirit of a Woman. And then use the code so we're crystal clear that this is for BB. Hashtag 210BB, hashtag 210BB. Yes, love that number. I love the way that looks. All right. So, family, you take care of that while we move forward with the slides.
All right. So, starting on Sunday, December 6th, we have Sister Amelia Blake, the spirit of a nurse, sharing holistic tools to help you stay grounded and resilient. Ooh, that's so exciting. Please be sure to be on for that on Sunday morning.
Beautiful. All right, and I can take this. So our schedule, we had new folks in the space, so please do know and understand that we do this 5 days a week. So on Zoom, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. We are here in this space doing what we do today, not as deliciously as Bria Brown did it, but we do this every day. And so 90 minutes of juice, 90 minutes of manifestation, 90 minutes of elevation. And because we call this wake up, 90 minutes of awakening energy being generated and synergized in this space. Then on Monday and Wednesday, we gather for, from 7 to 7:30. It's 30 minutes and it's equally as appetizing and as nourishing and productive. So please do join us for one of those 5 days, all of those 5 days. Tell others to join us as well. Do not engage in the hit it and quit it formula. Oh, I came and I saw my friend Bria, and so therefore I'm complete. Come on back and support us in manifesting community. And because we need this for where we're going, what's next. Some stuff we cannot even see or envision. We need community in order for us to move powerfully to the next thing. I'm complete. And if you are new, or even if you have been here before, we ask that you register each week to demonstrate your interest in being in this space with us. So utilize bit.ly/wake up movement for the registration, to join our Facebook page. Some of us have been in this community for months since it started and we're not on the Facebook page. So please do join the Facebook page so that you can be in the conversation and on the thread, bit.ly/woo community. Join us on Instagram at Wake Up Series. We are working on enlivening or activating that site more, but still join so that when the party starts, you don't miss it. And then YouTube, same thing, bit.ly/woo on YouTube. We're going to reactivate that at the top of 2021. So be there with us and support us in that. And then if you have suggestions or commentaries, feedback, testimonials, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. All right, ready to move forward to, so today, I don't think we'll be able to stay behind. Can you tell me if someone has already been slated to do this?
Teresa
Okay,
has.
beautiful, beautiful. So I know Kathy's not here. So if you are interested in being part of the Wake Up Everybody team, adminning behind the scenes, being in this space that we are in the morning, being Kinyofu, being John, being me, please do join us. Or if you want to take on facilitation, right? We have some excellent facilitators out there, and Bria's share just made you wake up to the fact it's like, oh, I love facilitating. Let me take this on and get started and ignited around that. Please do stay behind once we complete this. Want to stay on the line and you'll get to talk with Teresa about what the possibilities are. Everything from creating slides to manifesting the verbiage that we put up. When we do these processes each morning, what we post in the chat, working on Facebook, like making the announcements ahead of time. There's so many things that you can do, being part of the team that visions about what's next for the future. So come volunteer with us. We're not volunteering you, we're asking you to join us on the team, because we can't do this without community. All right, so stick around. When we finish our love shower with Bria, then we'll talk to you, and Teresa will lead that conversation. All right, so love shower time. Love shower time. You don't need to get naked. You don't need soap. You just need yourself and your voice and your
Thank you so much, sister.
Let's do this.
La 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 la. Woo woo.
Bria
La 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 la.
Brown.
Woo.
Thank you, Bria.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you. You brought it out. The perfect steps, aligning. And you can use this not even just in business, just in your organization, in life.
So much.
Thought about all
So
of
thank
this.
you. Thank you. This is wonderful. I love your glasses and your locks right there. You're going to so beautiful. And I love
Happy
your
Bria!
Great.
beautiful
Job, Bria.
Thanks, Bria.
Awesome,
That was
awesome.
amazing.
Congratulations to the
Where's the
winners.
workshop?
Wonderful,
Need the
wonderful
workshop.
day.
Thank
You
More
did it.
workshops, Bria.
Bria,
Series of
Shawnee,
classes.
thanks
A
everyone.
shot
I
in
love
the
y'all.
morning.
Happen.
Cool shot. No
Appreciate you.
hypo.
Must continue.
I'll definitely
Love
follow
you.
up with you.
Yo, Bonnie, thank you.
Denise, I will definitely be
Thank
in
you
touch
so
with
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Your energy
All
definitely keep us motivated and push. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for that this morning. I appreciate it so much. Yes, awesome job. Did a fabulous job. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you for empowering us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yep.
We love you.
I will be in
Appreciate you.
touch. Thank you.
Great
All
day.
right.
Thank you, y'all, family. Love. Great day.
Bria, come back.
Yes, I'm back.
Bye.